do. All right, let me see. Hey guys, back. I don't know if this has helped or not. I hope so. Ooh. I lowered the quality of the video input. I don't know if it's my bitrate or I don't understand why I have a little bit of a hard time. It looks good. Okay. Because I can't tell. I can see myself in OBS, which is the broadcasting software that I use. And so I can see myself just fine, but for me to see it on YouTube, there's a delay, and then I don't get much information from YouTube with what the actual issue is, so I can't quite tell. I can just see like a green light, yellow light, red light, meaning either much better now. Okay, good. My internet should be able to handle it. I upload at about 100 megabytes. We have really fast internet, so it should be able to handle it. It's a little laggy, but not like it was. Okay, good. Hi. Good to see you guys. It could also be my computer can't handle it. I have a MacBook Pro, but it's not like top of the line in terms of processing, so you can see and hear everything. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Long time no see. I'm just doing some prep work right now. I'm going to dye a little bit today. I have a couple hours alone without children. Again, I have video output low. I don't understand. YouTube. I don't know. That is so weird. Hi. I don't know why. If it's like, I can see that my video is a little bit stuttery, and I don't know if that has to do with bitrate or if that has to do with something else. I don't know much about live streaming in terms of what affects what. Hello. So I was going to dye some of the changes kits today, but I only have 7 skeins of yarn left of my sock yarn, so I can't really do that. I like to dye everything all at once and put everything up all at once. So I'm just going to dye on some MCN that I have. Yeah, this is so bizarre. Why this is not working. Let's see if I can fix it again. All right, let's see. Again, I'm sorry for any hiccups with the stream quality. It's been a while since I've streamed, and I had to uninstall this software, reinstall it, put in all the settings again, so apologies. Hey. Using your yarn for the mystery cow with the periscoping sisters. Ooh, that's exciting. Hopefully this is working. Hello, everyone. Okay. We've had some hiccups in video quality, and I think the problem is not my internet. I think it is the processing speed of my computer. I think that's why I'm having such a hard time. But anyway, so I was going to dye some changes kits today, but I do not have enough yarn to do so because I wanted to do 2 kits of the dark color and 2 kits of the light color. But I only have 7 skeins of yarn left. I have plenty of sock blanks, but I just don't have enough in terms of actual skeins of yarn. And I don't have any cones, so I can't even make a skein of yarn. But yeah, it's been a little while since I've been on for a few reasons. Well, mostly it's been because of kids and sickness. So a few weeks back, my son had a mystery fever for like 4 days. We think it was roseola, but he had a high fever for 4 days, was like 103. And so it didn't do any dying then. And then we had a car accident. Everybody's fine, but it was in a parking lot, and it was just, there are big snowbanks that are piled everywhere, or that they were a few weeks ago. And as I was going to turn into the Target parking lot where I like to spend all my extra time, I had a head-on collision with a car coming. They came around a snowbank, and I was going to turn, and they didn't see me, and there was no even time to brake or beep the horn or anything. So it totaled the front end of my car, so we do not have my car anymore. We had to get another car. Again, I'm having very poor time with video today, and I don't know why. So please let me know if the video quality really takes a dive. I'm really not sure why this is having such a hard time. It should be able to receive enough video. Anyway, so we had the car accident, and then the following Thursday, my daughter came down with the stomach flu, which meant 4 or 5 days of us bleaching everything in the house and not doing much of anything and not seeing anyone and not talking to anyone, because it was just, we were on like watch to see who may or may not get the stomach bug. So that's really kind of like what's been happening lately. So I haven't had time to dye. And then this week's been school vacation week. So on top of that, that's kind of where we're at in terms of us and the kids. I have the sink next to me, so for those of you who have never watched me dye before or haven't seen any of my other videos, I'm in my kitchen, and I have my stove here, which is all of my dye pans, and then here, where you cannot see on the side, is my sink, so I'm just soaking some yarn. And then husband is fine, everybody's good, we're all just kind of hanging in, trying to ride out the week so that we don't go insane in terms of, we're stuck here in the house with the kids. So this morning, my mother-in-law has my daughter, which is great. And the only reason I use OBS is because I like to have 2 cameras, and right now with YouTube streaming, they offer streaming direct through YouTube, but you can't use 2 cameras. I could only use either my webcam or my computer, and I prefer to have both because I feel like I can talk to you and see the chat, and then I can also dye and you can watch me dye. I don't know. Anyway, so it's been a while. So this is my MCN base, which is an 80 1010. That's right. I was gonna say 80-20. I'm like, no, it's not 80-20. It's an 80-10-10, and see, there we go. See, now it's orange. I don't understand YouTube. I really don't. Check resolution. Not in reading. I don't understand. Anyway, so I've had some 80-10-10 sitting on my shelf for about, 2 months, whenever the last time I did a big yarn purchase. And it's just been sitting there, and I haven't dyed on it. I don't know why, except for the sheer fact of not having time or energy right now to do much work. I do have a bunch in the shop. I did update the shop a couple of weeks ago, and there's still a bunch in there. So if you haven't checked it out, I did dye up all 4 houses, the Harry Potter houses, and then I also dyed up, what else did I dye? Oh, I dyed the Marauders. So I dyed Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs. So I might just change this resolution one more time just to see, yes, everybody is okay. Everybody is fine. What's nice is that, you know, we had a leased vehicle, so we were in the accident, but we didn't own the car. So we just had it leased, and we don't owe anything. Like, we were on our last couple of payments for the lease, and we had insurance to cover if a car was totaled. We wouldn't have to pay for the extra stuff. So now it's just waiting to hear back from my insurance company to see if there's anything like else we need to do, but everybody's good. All right, I don't know what I'm gonna dye today because I can just dye whatever I want, I suppose. There's no limitation. Probably should preheat my pans. I haven't done that yet. But how is everybody here? I see there's a few of you guys watching. I know it's a very awkward time. It's like middle of the day, like 11 o'clock, middle of the week or end of the week. So most of you guys probably are working or whatnot. But for those of you who are here, I'd love to hear how you all are doing. I've been trying to answer as many comments as I can. I always try to check back and answer any questions or comments that come in between uploads. But the last video I put up was the fiber business video, which was pretty well received, and I'm wondering how you guys felt about it, if you liked it or not. It seemed like it was very well received, and it was just kind of one of those recordings, not on a whim, but it was like an idea, and then I'm like, you know what, I really should make a video about that because I get this question all the time, like perhaps it deserves its own video. So I'm just turning on my burners, my jar of labeled citric acid. My mother once, I think, put this in her coffee, which was a very poor surprise for her. I do not really measure, I kind of eyeball. That's a lot. Kind of eyeball the citric acid. But I know that should be enough to set the yarn. I think Chemnitz is also live right now, so I was like, I want to go live, and then I was like, but I want to watch Chemnitz live. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have any suggestions for what I should dye today. I don't know, usually the Marauders are a pretty good hit to have, like all 4 Marauders at the same time. Liked it, and I'm working towards. That's great. I'm glad that it could be a little bit inspiring to you and provide you with some like insight on the business, because in all honesty, it's great. It's really fun and I enjoy it a lot, but there's a lot of work that goes behind it in order to maintain a business. You know, it's easy to start a business and to start to get a following, but then maintaining a business, you really have to be self-motivated to do that, and it's really challenging with 2 kids, and like as my business has grown, it's become more and more challenging, which is part of the reason why I've been kind of taking a little bit of a break when I need a break and not quite worrying about it too much, like social media posts and stuff, because in the long run, things will eventually get easier. Both kids will be in school. So, but yeah, the thing about, it is a ton of work. And a lot of it, like only a certain percentage of it really is the creative part. So in terms of dyeing, you know, I can spend a couple hours a day dyeing yarn and dye hundreds of hanks of yarn if I really want to. If I have the time available, should I say, if I have the time available. But the other part is the posting about it and letting people know about it, whether you pay for advertising or you do it yourself. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any other new social medias that people are on, you know, you have to take that time to promote. And if you don't, then unless you're on a marketplace like Etsy where you might get random sales, you're not going to get very many sales. And I think that's where a lot of people end up struggling in terms of their business, you know, to put in the extra time for your promotion. You could hire somebody to do that, but then that's more money out that you'd have to pay someone else to do it. So So right now I am just putting the yarn in. I'm going to empty this sink because the glare from the sink is like making the video all weird. So I have 4 skeins in each pan, which is the way I usually dye. So if I dye these both the same color, it would be 8 skeins in the same amount of time as 4. But I think I'm going to dye each pan a different color just for fun, just to have more colors. Thinking about it now that my day job could be 10 more years. Yeah, me too. I love this community too. There's a lot, what can I say? Like there's as much great that happens in this community as stressful things that happen in this community. Just it's a bunch of people making yarn and anyway, so there's plenty of drama everywhere that you go, and you can find drama if you look hard enough for it, but I try to just keep my hands in the dye pot and focus on my own business. I try not to compare myself to anyone else and stuff, but it's certainly a job or a career path that you can do. You do it at your own time and your own resources and your own motivation, so it is whatever you make of it. So if you are thinking like, oh yeah, I want to make this a full-time endeavor and I'm going to do shows and do all of that, that's really what, if you want to do that, then that's what you do. For me right now, it's a part-time venture, and the other part of my time is spent with the kids. By the way, this water is very hot, and I say it in every live stream, but do not stick your hands in hot water. I'm used to the temperature of the water. It's not quite at a simmer yet. I'm going to watch the temperature of this pretty closely because I don't want to overboil it and I don't want to damage the MCN. But I do need to get it hot enough to do some speckles because I love speckles and that's just what I want to do. So, if you guys have any suggestions for dyeing, what you would like to see me dye today, I am up for the task. I actually have let me show you my new mask. I have a new mask. So I actually got this mask a few weeks ago. It's a really nice particle filtration. It's not for vapors, but it's good for particles. I really, really like it. For my last big dye up and shop update, this is the mask that I used when I dyed. For the sake of the stream, I'm still going to use the white one just to give myself some protection. But if you're dyeing and you're speckles all the way, Team Speckles, it's got to be my favorite thing. I love speckles, but if you're going to dye and you're using acid dyes or powdered dyes of any kind, whether it's Kool-Aid, you don't want to breathe that in your lungs. You only get one set of lungs, and I've been guilty of foregoing the dye mask in protection, but you really should. So super important. Definitely, if you don't have a mask, this was cheap on Amazon, but it's for particle filtration, not vapors. So if you're worried about vapors from the citric acid in the pan, but for the time being, I'm just worrying about the dye particulates coming up and me breathing them in because it's very easy to do so. There's my cool look. But yeah, this is really great. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend. Let's see if I can turn this a little bit so we get better lighting. So yeah, what should we dye? What should we dye? I'd love to hear what you guys want to see. I feel like I really want to dye something fun. Something fun. What color palette? Maybe not what colorway, but what color palette would you like to see? I just want to do something fun. Something fun. And again, if you're new in the stream or you can't see me, please let me know. It doesn't really go for those of you guys who might be watching after the fact, but it'll help me in the long run adjusting my stream settings. And hopefully you can hear me okay with the mask on my face. The other one you can't hear me. Like if I have this on, it literally is a valve and you can't really talk. It's really, really muffled. Blues and purples. Ooh, how about we do some Beaubaton? That good? Yeah. you guys don't know, I keep my dyes on a shelf in these containers. If I buy big canisters of dye, I'll just refill my little ones because it's just really easy access. Where is the camera? There it is. It's just really easy access to get it. So let me get the colors for Beaubaton because that will be a really fun one to dye. I like that color. And then definitely blues. What can we do that's in the blues? Blues and purple. Oh, everyone's feeling the blues and purples. I love it. All right, this one. And this one. So Beaubaton has 4 colors, which are easy to remember. And then if you don't remember, when you're using canisters like this, make sure you shake them, especially when you first get them because the dye particles can settle. And yes, this makes it more likely that dye is going to come out of the jar. Normally I like to pre-shake them and get them settled, you know, a little bit of time ahead of time for that. So I'll do Beaubaton right here in this pan. So there's 4 colors in this yarn. There's a gray, which is what I like to do first. This is on MCN. I also like to keep damp paper towels around, so if I'm speckling with my fingers, I can just wipe them off between colors. And then we got some purple. Purple. This is my favorite purple to speckle with. This colorway was part of a dye-along. It was based on a photo of a lake with like white and purple trees, like gray and purple trees. It was very pretty. But this color that I'm speckling with right now likes to break blue and pink and purple. So it gives a lot of interest when it's speckled. And hopefully, I don't know what time Rebecca is streaming until today, but there's a lot of folks in her ChemKnits group that were asking me about speckling, because I'm pretty active in her group and I try and give really good advice because there's a lot of folks in there who are hobbyists, who are dyeing with food dyes, and are very interested in either starting a business or, you know, learning different techniques. So this is how I speckle. I have low water. I use my fingers. You can use a brush. You can use like a toothbrush, and you can flick around some dye stock onto the yarn. You can use a dry brush. You can use a salt shaker. You can use one of those tea strainers and tap your finger and have the dye go down onto the yarn, and then you wouldn't really have to wear gloves. Okay, so now we have a blue. So this is more of like a primary color. It's not, it's a color that I just, it's just a tiny amount of this blue. And I'm trying, for this colorway, I'm trying to get it next to the gray and purple so that it is seen. But you really don't need very much of this color. This is a very bold color. And the dyes that I use are Dharma dyes, pretty much exclusively. I used to use food dyes when I first started. But once I started my business and I was like, yes, I want to do this, I bought a ton of Dharma acid dyes. And some of the first variegated yarns I made were from acid dyes, but using liquid instead of speckled. And then this is a teal, and I love teal. This is one of my favorites as well. Also a very strong color. I don't need very much in my fingers to make it show up. So that's the start of Beaubaton. What about a splash of yellow? Ooh, maybe I can do some yellow in this one. I'll do a yellow colorway. So what I do is I speckle, and then I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit because I don't want to scorch this. And then I'm going to cover this pan and let it simmer. I find that having the covers is great for my environment. It doesn't feel as humid. And it also helps the color set more quickly because it traps the hottest steam heat right on the top of the yarn. So I'm going to get some foil. I really should invest in some covers for these pans, but honestly, I can't be bothered. And because I do speckling by hand and I use dry powder, there is variation between dye lots. I try my very best. I usually have a reference photo of a dye, a previous dye that I've done, and I also have them in my dye notebook for reference, so I can take a look and see how much of each dye should really be on there. I can't make things exactly the same between dye lots unless I use measured amounts of liquid, but because I use powder, that's just the case. So in this one, you said you wanted some yellow. What could we do? I could do, I don't have many yellow yarns. I just have Courage, which is the Hogwarts yarn, which is red and brown and yellow. And then I have, turquoise. Oh, I love turquoise. What did I just dye that had turquoise? I feel like I just had a new color. Let me look at my notes here. I have some notes that I keep on my computer for things. What did I have that had turquoise? Ooh, Alchemy did. Alchemy had some, make a new color. His Mother's Eyes! I love that colorway. That's such a fun colorway. I feel like there's one. Oh, Mimble Wimble. That's a good one. That has yellow. It has 2 yellow colors and 2 cool. You know what? I think I might do Mimble Wimble. It's blues and yellows. His Mother. No, see, it's needed. That caps lock is needed. And for those who are watching back, speaking to the future, hello future. The live chat is available below the video if you're watching on your desktop. YouTube now allows it, which is why it's not on the screen right now. So everybody can see your caps lock, Nicole. All right, let's see. How about we do Mimble Wimble? Because that's blue and yellow. Almost all, Chantel, almost all of my colorways are Harry Potter themed. So this one that's in this pan here is Beauxbatons, which is the school that comes, one of the schools that comes for the Triwizard Cup. So, all right, Mimble Wimble it is. We're going to do that. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we have 1. That's a yellow color. And 2. So some of these I don't have, I'm getting messages. Some of these I don't have labels on the lid because I haven't gotten around to relabeling all my lids, but I keep the labels here. 2 more. Let's see. Sorry, 3 more. So there are 5 colors in Mimble Wimble, which is the tongue-tying curse if you don't know. It's also a Harry Potter colorway. Chantel. Okay. So when I'm speckling, I like to start with the lighter colors first because I can control them where they go and then put the dark colors wherever I want in relation. So this is a pretty saturated colorway because some of these colors are pretty saturated, and I hope that you'll be able to see. I don't think I'm going to be able to switch pans. There's no real way, because there's not enough room here. There's only, you know, this much space between, so I can't put my tripod there. But I will do my best, here. So I'm going to start actually with this color yellow. So this is a color, you use it like a tonal. You can really dilute it down, but as a yellow it's really fun. So I'm just going to put it on. It's almost like a yellow orange when you speckle it. So I don't need very much. It's the blues that are going to be singing in this colorway. But you can see a little bit in the back there. I can show you. There it is. It's a nice sunny yellow. Very pretty. And then this is pretty much the more concentrated version of that color. As you experiment with more dye, you start to learn like what things look like. So, let's see if you can see. So this is a pretty dark color when it's in the pot. It looks almost brown, but it turns into this lovely yellow. So I'm going to put it on. It's almost like it's a little more green toned than the other one. So it gives a different feel. I like to combine different temperatures of colors, so warm and cool tone colors. So that was this color here, to give interest. And I also use color theory. So a lot of people ask me why or how I choose colors for colorways, and not every colorway is a winner. Not every colorway I'm like, oh, it's so awesome. But you know, it's all an experiment. So I try to use my art knowledge as much as I can. I have to take this off. The thing with these masks is it like suffocates you a little bit. All right, safety first, right? Safety first, children. Okay, and then we have these blues. So I'm going to start with the lightest value. Actually, this one is probably the lightest value. This is a really cool tone blue. It's very icy. So I'm trying to put it next to the yellow, but not all over the yellow, because I don't want to make it too green. And so I sprinkle what I want, and then I try and flick the excess off of my fingers, and I use the paper towel to take up the extra. Normally I also close the lids right away because you don't want dye powder spilling all over your kitchen. I can speak from experience. The worst one is magenta. That never comes out. Okay, and then, so that color was this. It's hard to see on my little, ooh, this looks so pretty. Ready? This is my favorite part. I don't know if Rebecca will watch this from Chemnitz. She and I chat quite often, but it reminds me of a tie-dye t-shirt. It's kind of funny. Okay, so let's continue with some blues. So this is a more pink tone blue. And it's like, it's not super blue. I don't know, or maybe it's like blue-green. I don't know, it's like a mid-tone, kind of like ocean blue. So we got that on there, just so good. And then we've got this dude. This is an indigo color. It's actually called Indigo, but I use very little of this in here, but it's enough to make a nice deep, and this is a more red toned blue. It's not true indigo dye, but it's indigo color. So a very little bit of this goes a very long way. And I'm going to try and lift the other camera to see if you can see. I also have to like, okay, here you go. Sorry for seasickness. Oh, there we go. So you can see the yellows, and then I tried to keep the blue away from the yellow as best I could, which is another reason why I use higher heat. All right, and then this one's probably done setting. So what I'm going to do is clean my hands first. Don't contaminate. And then I'm going to flip and dye the other side, and I'm going to let the other one set. So we'll do Beaubaton the back side. And that's the key too. If you're going to use these pans, also please be careful of steam if you do this, because speaking from experience, it's very easy to get a steam burn when you lift a lid off of a boiling pan. So don't do that. So I like to open it and let it go out. Again, extremely hot. Don't touch it. I'm just going to move this over. Ooh, it's looking so pretty. Okay, I have my tools. My tools are ready to go. So this is why I pre-tie all my skeins. So I lay them out so they are not tangled. And I pick them up by the ties, which are just acrylic yarn, so it's not really going to take the dye. It's just going to stain it. You can't really dye acrylic yarn. You just end up staining it. Oh, this is so pretty. So again, I'm trying not to be boiling, trying not to agitate this yarn very much. It is superwash wool. It's, you know, only 10% cashmere, but the cashmere will felt. I mean, I accidentally washed my daughter's socks. So the first pair of socks I made for Cece was in a DK weight MCN that I dyed, and it was just to try and make socks. But I accidentally put it in the wash and dryer, and I ended up with a felted mess. So you really shouldn't, you know, machine dry cashmere. But I also don't like to agitate it a ton because I don't want it to felt and I don't want it to get too fuzzy. So I'm going to take a break of this mask for a second. You know, it's just like, I don't know if any of you guys get like this, but it's just like, when you can't breathe freely, you feel just like enclosed. Like if I can't breathe through my nose at night, I get really like, oh, I can't breathe. Same thing here. It's like I can breathe through my nose, but like there's a lot of pressure on it, and then all the air just kind of stays in the mask. So it's very like, oh. All right, so we got the back side of Beaubaton, and so I'm going to speckle again in the same order. So I'm going to start with my gray. And then I will go to the purple and then the blue and the teal. And I do have a pattern of how I dye when I'm dyeing speckles, because I like things to look the same each time I do it as best I can. So I do take notes on where and, you know, which colors are next to each other for speckling, like how much. So I look at pictures and I take my notes, and so this is some purple, pretty purple. So lately, not really dye related, I've been watching soap making on YouTube. Has anybody else gone down that rabbit hole? I'm obsessed, first, with soap making. I am so intrigued by the process of soap making, and I don't know if it's just because, like, I dye for a living, so, like, I know kind of, like, creatively, and, you know, it's, like, you know, single owner businesses, and, you know, other people like me who are doing YouTube streams and sharing, like, creative information. So I've gone down a rabbit hole with quite a few soaping channels. I've even entertained the idea of making my own wool wash, but in all honesty, I don't have a lot of time to do that right now, but it's in a business plan for me, and I'm trying to make a nice business plan for myself where, you know, if I have an idea, you know, this is pro tip from Pro Tips with Kayleen. If you have an idea, just write it down. Even if you think it's dumb, or you think I'll never be able to do that, or I don't think so. And also, Unicorn whip soap. Yeah. I've been watching Royalty Soaps, Missouri River Soaps, Ariane Arsenault. I've been watching, Royal Appleberry. I love Kenny from Royal Appleberry. I cannot get enough of her. She is fantastic. If you've never watched soaping channels, it's really fun to watch. It's almost as fun to watch as this. But anyway, if you have an idea for your business or your creative life, just write it down. If you think it's dumb, whatever. If you're like, I'll never do that or I'll never learn that, just write it down. And then think about the steps you need to do to get there. Because that's all it really is a journey. And you're just kind of walking along this journey. You know, I said to myself, when I was a youngin', I'm not so young, I'm not so old, but I'm not so young either. I'm in my 30s. And when I was a teenager and 20-something, I was like, I will never knit. I will never learn to knit. I can never do it. And that mantra stayed in my head until I was 30. And, you know, a couple years ago, I started working at my local yarn shop. A new yarn shop opened in town. And I went down there and I was like, here we go, Beau Baton. This is the back side. So I'll shift this cover over again, because this is probably set. Hot. Ooh, that looks so pretty. It's so pretty. So that mantra stuck in my head until I was 30, and I started working at the yarn shop. And then I decided, you know what, who's stopping me from knitting? Like, there's nothing I can't do with my life. If I want to try and knit, I'm going to try and knit, and I'm going to teach myself the best way possible that I can do it. And if I fail, then I fail. I'll try again, and if I fail again, then I'll try again. But, like, there's something that has to make something click. And so I decided to start knitting, and now I love knitting. I may be a convert to a knitting person. And my shop name is Littlebean Crochet. How hypocritical is that? I don't really look at their YouTube names, I just watch. And save the ones I like. Yeah, me too. So I've been watching Royalty Soaps, Missouri River Soaps, Ariane Arsenault, who's a Canadian. I've been watching Kenny from Royal Appleberry. She's cool. So fun to listen to and watch. But yeah, I go back on those channels and I start watching. And in that community, in the soaping community, it's so very similar to the yarn community that I laugh a lot because of the things that we talk about and then we deal with here. You know, people stealing recipes or, you know, colorway designs or names or branding. And, like, it's rampant there, too. And it's rampant in the yarn community as well. And so that's why I try and speak about it, because I have a voice here. I have a little bit of a platform here. And, you know, to make the message known a bit that, like, it's not really cool to steal other people's designs or names or whatever. So it's like if another person came out with, like, Littlebean yarn instead of Littlebean Loves Yarn, like, I would be like, hello? You know, but anyway, so it's fun to see that the problems we have in the yarn dyeing community is the same as it is in the soaping community. But anyway, I've gone down a rabbit hole with that, and many hours have been spent in the last week watching soaping videos. Alright, so I'm going to turn Mimble Wimble over and dye the other side. So yeah, it's really cool. We get some cool greens from the mixing of the colors. Let me just make sure it's ready. Because sometimes this color takes a time to exhaust, like more time than normal. No! My phone! My phone! Hello? Yes. Okay, I'm just dyeing right now, so give me a few minutes to clean up and all of that. Okay. Okie dokie. Alright, bye. My time with no kids is almost at an end. Isn't that sad? That was my mother-in-law calling me to tell me that I need to go pick the kids up at 12. So we have about 15 more minutes of stream time left. Sorry for answering my phone. on a live stream, but I don't really have much of a choice because I have to go get the kids. But anyway, so I'm just going to turn these, and look how pretty. It's so pretty. So the way I turn it is I grab the strings and I try and keep the yarn straight so that I get the entire other side of the skein. So I want to cover as many strands as possible with dye. And I try and lay them in the pan so that the yarn, so the way it's facing, so when you have a skein of yarn, so pretend my fingers are the strands. So your yarn is in a circle, right? And the strands go like this. So when I lay it in the pan, I like to lay the strands this way as opposed to this way, because this way you're getting color from the start of the skein all the way to the end of the skein, because it's a continuous loop. And then you turn it over and then you get color from the start to the finish. If you do it this way, you're going to get a lot of color at the beginning, not much color in the middle, and a lot of color at the end once you flip it. So when I lay the skein, this is good advice, try and lay it so that your strands, you are dyeing as many strands as possible. And I always wiggle my utensil, so if I'm using tongs, I wiggle to try and open up as many undyed strands as possible. So you see when I turn the yarn, there's almost no color on this side of the yarn, because it all, when you're speckling, you've got it on the surface, and it speckles and it stripes, and that's it. So when you turn it, there should be almost nothing. I'm exploding this yarn. And then when you're turning it, so you want to try and lay the strands this way, not this way. So anyway, okay, let's go back to the yellow. We'll start with the lighter yellow. So what's great about that yellow is it kind of sticks wherever you put it. So it's good. So it'll be like small concentrated spots. This color spreads a little more. And right now my pans are low water. They're on low heat, like medium low. So if you're on medium, it's medium low. So it's on a 3 of 10. Ooh, this paper towel looks so pretty. Sometimes I feel like I should put a sock blank, a damp sock blank down in my sink, because then I can make a cool little speckled sock blank colorway. But I always forget until I already start dyeing, and then I'm like, oh, next time I'll do it. And then I don't. Alright, and then let's get some blues. Well, it's not that one. It's this one. This is the one I'm looking for. So this one is that light cool blue, icy blue. So some of my speckled colorways, they're very concentrated with color, and a lot of it depends on the dyes that I'm using. Oh, hey Christina! I haven't been on YouTube for a while, so I'm very happy you could catch me. I did not announce this live stream, as I don't normally, but I'm glad you could catch me. It's a very awkward and odd time, so I hope that you're able to watch back once the live stream is over, because I have about 10 more minutes before I have to go pick up my children. I might hop on after, because my kids are going to have lunch, and then my son will likely nap, so I might be able to do a live stream. It might be interrupted more. Right, and then here's the watery blue. It's a nice blue-green with it's a little bit warmer toned It has more pinks in it than the first blue I put down. Anyway, so what was I saying? My brain. So some of the colors become more saturated because of the dyes that I'm using. So there are some dyes that really love to spread and break, and some of them don't. And so I try and take that into account, but most of the time I'm good with a happy surprise at the end. And if I like it, great, and if I don't, I change it. Like recently, I dyed up the 4 houses, and for Hufflepuff, it is yellow and black or gray, or yellow and bronze. No, blue and bronze is Ravenclaw, black and yellow is Hufflepuff. And I just dyed a colorway called the Avenue, which was a dye-along, and it was those colors. So what I ended up doing, because I can, is I took those colors, I changed the colorway just enough so I'd be really happy with it, and I made it into my Hufflepuff color because I liked it so much. And I used different colors, like a couple different colors, and I changed the gray into a black speckle. So that's always fun. Anyway, I'm suffocating in this mask. Alright, I'm just going to take it off. I'm done with the dry powder, so I'm just going to take it off. Oh, my face is red. It's red, it's red, it's red. Okay, so I'll show you this side of this color. You can see. There we go. So it looks a little different than the other side, but that's okay. We don't go for perfection here, we just go for mostly consistent. Right, so I'm done with powder. Take this off. There's the baton. She should be set. So normally I'd cover both pans at the same time. That's not that fun. Alright, so let me clean up the sink a little. And then I'm going to fill the sink with some cool water. Not too cold, but coolish. I don't want to shock the yarn. And I'm going to pull it out and wash it. But the dyes are set. It's had enough time to set. It's at a low bubble right now, the pan is, so it's not boiling, it's not, anything crazy. But this came out very nice. I was able to preserve a lot of the base colors, so you can see in the camera there, the white stayed pretty white. There's some gray bleed and teal bleed, but that's to be expected. I did expect that a little bit. But that's part of the reason why you want to use higher heat and lower water, because you want a higher acid too. Like, you want to make sure that there's enough there that when you put the dye on the yarn that it's not going to spread. And especially if you're using powder dye, you don't need a lot. You need very, very, very little to speckle. And see if I can show you in the sunshine what this looks like. So I'll take this over here. Let's do this. So here's my little sink. I don't know if this is going to show. I don't know if this will show. Maybe a little bit. You can see here. It's very hot. But yeah. So that is that colorway. And I'm going to rinse out all the acid. So anyway, that's why you want to do it, to have your water low, make sure you have enough acid, and make sure the water is hot enough for the dye to strike and absorb into the fiber so it doesn't bleed. I mean, if your goal is to maintain the white part of your yarn, then that's what you should do. I get that question quite a lot. And then, for those who might be curious, here's the dye napkin. This is all the extra dye that was on my fingers after I speckled, which wasn't very much dye, let me just say. So this is the most fun part. I almost want to save it and make a wall hanging, but it's just paper towel, so it's not like it's gonna last very long. All right. So for now, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for being here with me today. Thanks for suggesting colorways to dye today. I might come back on later, probably in an hour or more, just because my son's gonna nap. I'm going to continue dying, so I already have the setup here, so I might as well just, you know, have you guys along for the ride. So if you're up for it and you'd like to come back, please do. If you're watching this after the fact, there may be a second live stream video from today, so you might want to check it out. If you're not subscribed and you'd like to be, please make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the little bell icon so that you get notified when I go live or if I have uploaded a new video. YouTube algorithms are crazy and they don't like to put things in people's sub boxes, so, and it's especially important because my channel, I haven't been uploading very frequently, so YouTube kind of works against me in that way. So if you do like these videos, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon. If you liked it, give it a little thumbs upper. And if you'd like to see me again in a live stream, I might be doing it today. Probably. Since everything's already here, I might as well just do it again. So I hope to see you soon, and have a wonderful Friday. Bye.